everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am here to do my weekly wrap-up. I still haven't gotten to everybody's comments yet, but I will after I film. So, the first book I finished was The Bride by Julie Garwood. I gave it a 4, and I'm keeping my notes in front of me because my memory is a little off sometimes. I did like it. I found it slow in some parts, and it's a historical romance, and that's like my favorite type of romance to read. But what's the girl's name? Jamie. Okay. Jamie is in a family of, she's English, and it's her father and her 3 other sisters. Her oldest sister, I think, is already married. And Jamie is the youngest, and she's pretty much a stepdaughter because her father married her mother when she was pregnant with her. So her father uses her pretty much as a slave, do everything for me. And he makes it sound like that's the way things are supposed to be. Meanwhile, her older sisters are pampered princesses, you know. So he takes money from this one person as a loan, but it's actually he sold his daughter to the man to be wed. And so because he hasn't paid his taxes, the king says you must marry a Scottish man, or your daughter must marry a Scottish man, whichever daughter you pick, or he picks. And then 2 Scottish men come over and have to pick from his daughters because the Scottish king has said you need to marry one of the daughters. So that's how it goes. So Alec is the Scottish man that picks Jamie, and she's very feisty, and they're both let's see, she's very English, he's very Scottish. So it's like the clash of 2 worlds. It is good. A little bit dry in some spots. There are a couple of characters in here that you just love to hate. Anything else? Yeah, it's, you know, it's, I would say it's a typical historical romance because my typical I fly through. But it's cute. So I gave that a 4 stars. And that was for my Triple RC challenge. The links will be below for the group, the Goodreads group. So there's that. Then I finished, let's see if I can do it before. It has expired, but I kept the picture. It's A Fatal Affair by Marie Force, and she was the featured author for March. Forgot what month we were in. So it's book 1 in the Fatal Affair, or Fatal series. And let's see. This one's pretty much about sorry guys, there we go. Okay, a senator gets married, and the one investigator is, I forget her name, Sam. And the senator's next in, like, first down, his right-hand man is Nick. And Sam and Nick had a prior love thing, one night stand years ago, and both of them thought that they didn't like the other one, so they didn't call. It gets explained later on. So when the senator gets killed, they don't know who did it, you know, and of course it's a love affair. I think I gave it a 4. It was a really good book. There was lots of suspense, lots of mystery. I guessed something else, and it ended up being something else. So yeah, I didn't write much down, but it was a good book. I think I gave it a 4. For some reason, I didn't mark it down. Then I read Garden Spells by Sarah Addison Allen. I did like it. I gave it a 4. However, this sounds like the author kind of watched Practical Magic and changed a few things and made a book. I do like Practical Magic, so that's all right. But yeah, One sister stays in the house that her grandmother left her. One sister is the wild child that has left because she doesn't want to be in the town. And it's cute. There's a tree that throws apples at people. You can't eat the apples, or else it'll show you the biggest event in your life, whether it be a good thing or a bad thing. So yeah, it's cute. It really is cute. I found that the pages just kept turning and turning and turning. Let's see. Oh, and Evanelle. There's a character in here, her great aunt, no, a cousin, who gives people things just for the hell of it. But she always has this compulsion to give people stuff. She doesn't know why. She just has this house full of stuff. And when I wouldn't say mood strikes her, but the feeling that strikes her, she just randomly comes up to people and say, "Here, you need a Q-tip." It's funny. So I will read the second one from this, but it's cute. It really is cute. And of course, there are characters that you just want to kill. But yeah. So let's see. Then I read Soundless by Rochelle Mead. And this again was for Triple RC. This was for somebody with the last name starts with M. I don't know why everybody doesn't like this. I think because it's supposed to be a fantasy, and in a way it is. And I've heard other people say it's ableist. I mean, everybody's deaf. So, Faye lives on this mountaintop that has, you can't get down the mountain because the trail has been, an avalanche of rocks have blocked off the trail. So there are 3 sets of people. There's the, well, actually there's 4. There's like the elders. There's the artists that draw pictures of whatever happened the day before. There are the miners who mine the ore that goes down the mountain in exchange for food. And then there are the beggars that can't work anymore. They have no use and they just have to beg for their food. And so all of a sudden, the output of ore starts to go down. So the line keeper at the bottom of the mountain says, well, if the ore doesn't pick up, then you're not going to get any food. So Faye and another man, oh, what is his name? Lee Wei. And just, they want to go down the mountain and find out what's going on. And then all of a sudden, Faye gets her hearing back. And it is explained later on. That's kind of where the fantasy comes in. But I really enjoyed it. I read this, like, if I hadn't started it later in the day, I would have read it in one sitting. I definitely gave it a 4. I liked it. I really did. Yeah, it's kind of, yeah. And then I read Jenny Ivanovich, 3 to Get Deadly. I gave this a 3.75. It's not quite as funny as the first 2. It still had its moments, but I found that those moments ended up being later on in the story. And this is like, since book 3, I don't want to say too much, but she is a bounty hunter. And her next person to pick up is like the neighborhood candy shop owner. Everybody loves him. Everybody calls him Uncle Mo. And she has to pick him up for a failure to appear. Yeah, I didn't guess it until the, it was totally shocker almost. But I found it a little bit lacking. I don't know why. It was lacking. I don't think it had as many funny moments as the other ones did. I'm hoping that they get better. And yeah, the relationship between her and Joe Morelli, which is the neighborhood cop, which they had past, is kind of, I don't know. I just was expecting a lot more funny times in it, and there wasn't that many. So, we also last night finished, there we go, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. As you know, I'm starting to read these to my son, and I read out of this one. He follows along in this one, and he kind of interjects some parts, um, like these parts. He'll say those, or if there's like loud shouting or like letters, he'll say those. So it gets him practicing his reading out loud. It gets him practicing his cursive reading. So yeah, he loved it. The last chapter last night, we actually spent a little bit longer reading it to finish it. And he was laughing and he was just so happy about the ending. And he said, 5. I give it a 5. I'm like, well, yeah, it's Harry Potter. So he is anxious to start the next book. What I'm currently reading. I'm still reading this, but I'm making it through Type 2 Diabetes by lots of authors. I'm going to be picking up my own copy of a Type 2 book. There's a lot of things that have changed since my best friend has passed away. And that's 21 years ago that she passed away from Type 1. So what I knew back then of diabetes and what I know now, things have changed. So it's for the good. And I'm looking at this as this might be the best thing that ever happened to me. So if I stay positive and keep going, then it'll be a lot more easier for me. I don't want to sit in a corner and cry because this is happening. So I had my little meltdowns, I had my little cries, and now I'm thinking more positively about it. So, and my husband's been a great support. He's helping me any way I need it. So that's great, which he always did. So there's no question about that. And I'm also reading The Selection by Kira Cass. I didn't get as much reading done yesterday as I wanted to. Yeah, I was just, I was doing other stuff. So yeah, I'm liking it so far. I mean, it's a YA thing, and I never ever watched The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. It just didn't appeal to me. But this is like in a different world, and it's a new, I wouldn't say country, but World War IV has already happened. So yeah, they are a new country, and the prince, or the king and the queen, are requiring girls to sign up in between the ages of, I think, 16 and 20 or something like that, to sign up to be part of the selection to marry Maxim, the prince. And of course, America doesn't want to be in it because she's in love with her friend Aspen. And then Aspen pretty much tells her, no. Or, well, I wouldn't say no. He wants her to join because in their system, there's 8 or 9 levels of people. 1 is royalty, 2 is the guard, 3, 6 which is what Aspen is a servant, and then the 5, which is just above him, is artist. And that's what America is. She sings and she plays instruments, and her whole family is like, one's a sculptor, one's a painter, stuff like that. So Aspen, being the man and below her in the class system, doesn't want to marry her to bring her down. So he tells her, go in the selection, and if you lose, then we'll talk about it. But so that's pretty much where I've gotten to. So what am I going to pick up? Well, we're definitely going to be picking up Chamber of Secrets. So I'll be reading from this, and he'll be following along in this. And it still surprises me, the thickness difference. But this is thicker paper, bigger words, not as many on the page, and this is smaller. So he's looking forward to reading this. I've only read, I think, the first 3 books. Maybe the 4th, because when I read them, my sister-in-law had bought them for her son. And so I read them, and all of them hadn't been out yet. So I think at least 3, if not 4. And then I got my own copies, and I never read them. So I've never actually read from these books. I read from my sister-in-law's hardcovers. So, yeah, my husband bought these for Christmas, and I love them. They're so much prettier. But I love these ones too. So there's that. And then, obviously, I'm still reading the selection. And then I only have 2 more books to finish my Triple RC challenge for the month. And so I might be picking up the next Always book 1 in the In Boonesboro trilogy, by Nora Roberts. And then I might be picking up Ruta Sepetys, Salt of the Sea, and those would finish up my Triple RC challenge. And if I get finished with those, I might pick up one of the following. One, the first book in the Voyager series, Caretaker by L.A. Graff. It's a Star Trek. Hot Property by Sarah O'Brien. Like I said, one of these. I just don't know which one I want to read. Grave Peril, which is, I think, book 3. Yeah, book 3 of the Dresden Files by Jim Butcher. I'm really liking these. Or 1,000 Nights by E.K. Johnston. Johnston. And this is a YA fantasy. I think it's another retelling of the 1,001 Nights, if I'm not mistaken. And I'd love that kind of retelling. So that is my wrap up. Sorry it's so long. And yeah, so let me know what you read. If you've read any of these, let me know how you felt about them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.